storyteller and dungeon master Bilbo. However, I am not telling a story right now. I am actually going to review and show you Bannerless Builds 3D Terrain. It was a Kickstarter that I backed and I received it today. And so I had to open it and I figured might as well do a review. I have a Dungeons and Dragons game tonight, and but we are in the middle of winter, and they are in the middle of nowhere in my world of Hearthron, a continent called Koran, which is very harsh and Arctic North, so a very Northman type barbarian area. They are nowhere near a village, which they're from, but this here is more of town or city type terrain, facade, facade, I guess, build here. And so I thought I'd review it. I'm going to have to tear it all down here and set up my scene for tonight. However, I put the miniatures of the characters for my game tonight. As you can see, there's a lot of Dragonborn in this group. It's a kid's game. I do not record this game tonight, just letting the kids learn Dungeons and Dragons and feel comfortable and not worry about being on camera. So it's the only game I do not stream usually for my players. Actually it's the kids of my adult players. So it's a fun time to see how they interact with Dungeons and Dragons, and they're all learning the game, passing the game on to our children and grandchildren in my case. So it's very cool. But we're really here to talk about the terrain. So I backed this Kickstarter, I think probably last year, I want to say, and couldn't wait. I love having anything, the more detail for my players, I think the better. They're very visual. We don't play a lot of Theater of the Mind. I used to play it, but I've learned over the years that 3D terrain is very helpful for a lot of players to really kind of get themselves immersed. And also sometimes people may have learning disabilities that you may not know about. And sometimes that theater of mind doesn't necessarily work and maybe even frustrate the players. And you may have players disappear from your group and you go, why did they leave? And it could be as simple as they couldn't handle theater of the mind. It wasn't enjoyable for them. And for me, I like to just show out everything I can. So I got a level 3, which is everything that was part of this Kickstarter. The one piece that is still missing, which I know they're working on, is the church. And so that is the last piece. I know they're working on that. I have to say they've been very, as a Kickstarter, they have been very great communication as a Kickstarter, saying where they're at, how things have gone, and so that's been helpful. I really like that from a Kickstarter. I back a lot of Kickstarters in the past. I'm very anything that can help my game. I like adding. I love supporting artists out there that are working on whether it's miniatures, 3D terrain like this, or tilescapes, anything, adventures too, and or even supplements that can help my game and improve my players, make me look good as a dungeon master. Anything can do that, and just immerse my players into the story, more the better. So we'll kind of go around what you get here in this set, and you can go out. First off, I'm not being sponsored by Bannerless Builds whatsoever. This is purely on my own opinion, and I will tell you the good stuff and the bad stuff that I kind of found, and then maybe they will even take it. I'm sure they'll watch this video on YouTube when I post it out there, and maybe they'll even take some advice as they go forward and build more and more to this kind of setting. So let's start with what you get and kind of what I got along here. with this. So first you get like these connector sets, so they're all individual walls, and I'll tear some apart here in a second. But you get like these cornerstones here, just kind of making sure I have a little delay. I'm kind of watching this on Twitch at the same time. So I just have to figure out what's a good angle here, camera wise. So let's see if this works. Let's see, you can see on one. So let's stop moving for a second. All right, so I know this is probably a good spot. All right, so this here is the kind of connecting piece. You can see there's 4 holes in the top, bottom is flat. And these can connect into the buildings. There's plenty of these. I have 2 spare ones after I used every build up here to kind of build this surrounding little bit, village market square, if you might. You also get these connecting pieces here, and these connect to the top, the holes, and into the buildings. My one feedback on this is, if you can see around here, there's a point, you can see a little gap there, and some of these places were hard to, it's like Legos, so it's a lot of fun playing with this stuff. But as you can see, I think if they would have they make these just a little smaller, and maybe even the little pegs on here just a tiny smaller to fit a little bit better in the holes. They are very snug, and sometimes they don't want to cooperate. So it's not an easy build. I mean, you're going to want to build this and set up. I can tell you it's going to be a quick takedown, and I'll kind of do that as we go. So those are the connector kits. You have these crates out here. This is really cool. I mean, you got plenty of crates. And this, I mean, you can use for so many different, you can use these in your dungeon settings. You'd almost use this as like a coffin if you want. But the crates, this is great kind of scenery where you can have, could put a couple of the player characters, archers there, or you could stick them on top of the box. This is great terrain for your players to interact with, and so you use this for like this village setting, but you could use it for a dock setting. You can use it for in a dungeon, or say a warehouse. There's a lot of uses for these crates, and there's plenty of them. I have a couple of crates from other things that I've gotten miniature wise, but I've never had a large amount of crates. And now I'm like, oh, this is great. I can set up a complete warehouse. Then we have our shops. So I'll kind of go around the village here and just kind of go through each of the pieces here. So first, over here is the alchemist shop here, and hopefully I have this shown right on the map on Twitch here. Yeah, I think if I point here. So here's an alchemist shop. So that's one of the shops there. And then we have, so a variety of shops that we have. We have way over here, there's a back door. I'll take that apart later. You have the archway. I do like the archway. It's in the sense, really kind of, almost in the sense where you can, bring in the scene. The characters might come in through there. Once again, you can use this in multiple types of settings as well. You have the constables, which is right here with these stairs, and these stairs are detachable. So you can use those for other things as well. You have the counting house, which I think is right here. But I'll show those a little bit better in detail when I break it down. And you also have this alley here. I'll talk about that as well as I break it down. So there's a couple alley pieces there. What else do we have? Just kind of going through pieces as I'm looking here. So we have the general store, which I believe is here. This one. I believe that's the general store. Yeah, that's the general store there. And we have the store here with stairs. Once again, these stairs are detachable, so you can move that. This is a great setting. If it's not a store, you could use it in a sense of tavern entrance. I like this. I wish, and that's I mean that's always the thing with stairs with miniatures. Uh, I would rather almost have just a couple bigger stairs so the miniatures can go down and interact on the stairs. You can usually a lot of stair settings for miniatures. You usually got one, maybe two stairs that you can actually interact with, and then the rest are no good. And it would be nice. I would rather just have a couple big stairs. And I know he's trying to work the scale and everything, so it's a tough thing. But if anybody that you know that has some good stairs out there where you have miniatures on multiple levels, let me know in the comments below here. And we also have what? So we have the store. What else is there to talk about? The tavern, which is right here. I believe that's the tavern. And so, oh no, there's the tavern. Here's the tavern here. Sorry, my bad. And so those are the settings. So you also have a well. I have a couple pieces here. So I would say the I'm not sure if it's broke or I'm supposed to put these pieces in. I worry about breaking the sides here. As you can see, the roof comes off. So I can glue that on. There's a couple spots here, and I tried to stick this in, but I was worried about breaking these pieces. But I do know there is some flexibility because I found that out with these pieces there. These connectors, there's some flexibility in there. With that said, the building's stable. Risen, he's actually put a couple stress test videos out there that creator of Bannerless builds. He has a couple of builds where they're throwing pieces around. So they're very tough, very player tough. You also have this notice board over here. I do like that as well. Something where you can have interaction with the your characters, maybe reading something and finding a job. If you set up kind of this is the meeting place for the villagers. Next up, and this also is detachable, so probably what I'll end up doing is painting this and then gluing that on and having that all set up. So he does offer painting as well. I don't know if it's just a Kickstarter or if, but you know, it's more expensive, and I just wanted to get the stuff and figure on painting myself. And I mean, and you can craft this kind of stuff yourself. I'm not a crafter. I want to be. I follow a lot of crafting videos out there. But one thing, I'm actually moving out west in 9 months, and so I don't want a bunch of pieces of stuff that I either breaks or just don't want to take it with. So I plan to do more crafting once I move to Las Vegas. Done some crafting for some of my games, but this is quick stuff I can use for adventures, and it's easy to contain. It came in, all this stuff came in 3 little boxes, and so easy to put into, and I'll probably just put them in a tote and have them in a tote going forward. Next, couple other pieces. So we have a fence, these fences. So here is, and I do like the detail of the fence. You have the one side with the wood beam cross, and then the other side is just straight wood. I do like that. You also have a little gate. Doesn't open, but that's okay. I mean, it's just more for show than anything else here. So you have this, and then you have the dock here. Let me show this. So you have the dock, and this is cool. I do like the dock, and so you can use this as a basin point for if you have a small village set up, and have some water, and there maybe your characters are fleeing to a boat, to a rowboat to get away, or I have a pirate campaign, and I'm sure I'm going to put this into play very soon as my players go to a small kind of uh, dock village, as I should say, a kind of a fishing village off the water. Then you also have the boat. And so this is the rowboat. It comes in pieces. So this here is, I guess, the mast piece, but there's no mast. So it's kind of like, well, where's the mast? You just have the piece for it. And it actually has core inside, so why not have the mast go full bore? If you're going to put a thing for mast, maybe put one in. So that was one of my complaints. And I would say probably the boat is maybe my biggest complaint, because it just doesn't gel that well. I mean, it looks almost rinkety here. So I pick it up and see. So as you put it together, the problem is it just doesn't go perfect. So as you see the pieces on the back, it's kind of like broken apart, but it wasn't gelled well. Now, I look on their online on their site, the bannerlessbuilds.com, and it looks just like this. So I have to say, it's not where I thought, oh, maybe I need to complain to them and say, hey, this piece was broken. But if I look at the rowboat on their site, I can see exactly the same setup. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to complain, other than here on this video going, well, it'd be nice if the rowboat was more stable. I haven't put a miniature in here to just see scale wise. So let me throw in a couple guys. So I mean, it's not a bad scale. I mean, I think in the sense scale for the game, it's perfect. Let's see if I can get two miniatures next to each other. No, so they can't get two abreast. So it's one thing. It would be nice if it was, because if you want to have a fight on the boat, they can't be facing face to face. But that's kind of, it is what it is. I will probably end up just gluing this together, make one big piece. I'm not sure if I will, but it's kind of my thought. But I haven't tried to see if I can make a smaller rowboat yet either. And yeah, so maybe I won't. So this way, maybe I have a smaller rowboat as well. So those are the pieces. Now I'm going to kind of take a couple closer details to some of the pieces and some of my thoughts, and my review as I go through, and then I'll wrap it up here. So first I'm going to do the alley. So reach across here. So you have three pieces which can interact, and they say it's a dead end alley, which, yeah, I guess if you do that, if you have a dead end alley, it's pretty cool. The one thing I thought about is, and where all the other pieces connect, as you see, there's no connection there. And so they make these are a little bit more flimsy and can fall over quicker here. I wish they would have went ahead and drilled holes, and maybe they will in their future builds. Just drill holes in there, and so it makes it more stable. So you could put one of these connectors, you know, right there, and then it's solid. Because I have players that will come and grab their miniatures and move their miniatures. They like moving they're touching their figures, moving. They like interacting with pieces. So if they are in this area, this alleyway, and then they hit this and knock it over. And it's pretty stable this way, um, which, but if you do like two pieces and now it's a little less, and say if a character's trying to hide up there on the wall, it's a little bit a little different. Maybe it's going to fall over. I worry about that. I don't care about the miniatures falling, as long as they're not the nice painted ones we do versus the ones we buy pre-painted. So that was my one thing. I wish that they had the little holes in the tops here. But probably the other reason is because they're so close. But I don't know. They did it on the other pieces, so why not? I would think it would be fine if they had a hole here and a hole there. And with that being said, so the connecting pieces, this is my other complaint. So other than the one thing I said, I wish these were a little smaller, the holes themselves, and actually probably the sides a little more shaved down, so they can easily fit next to each other. And so what I'll show you here also, well, before I show you that, so you have the three. I wish, and this is a definite recommendation for their future builds, is that there would be an option with just two, like this, just two connectors, and also an option with just three, just like Legos, because sometimes you don't want to have four pieces across, and it'd be nice if there was a three, and nice if there was a two. Those are just my recommendations. I really do like this stuff. I will use it in my games. My players will get a kick out of it. But let me show you what I'm talking about as I maybe untake a few pieces apart. So here, I'm when you try to connect these together, and this is where you have to do some work and see if it was shaved down, it would just boom fit in there, but it doesn't, and so you have to squeeze down. And I'm not going to spend this time, but I did before, and so as you see, it's pretty quick to come apart. So if I just pull it and pieces fall apart, and see, so here, when I see, if you can see that, what I'm talking about right there is where the pieces necessarily don't fit in perfectly, and if they were just shaved down a little bit more, and like I said, on the sides, shaved down where they can connect better. And there's, with these holes, there's a couple holes, not this one, this was perfect, but I had to take an X-Acto knife and just kind of get